Hello and welcome to Tomi Talks TV. I have one singular goal with this show, and that is to help you make smarter decisions so that you can have better relationships. As usual, I'd like to start by saying a very big thank you. Thank you for all your likes and your shares and your comments on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. I really appreciate you because they're helping us spread the message further faster. So thank you very much indeed. And for those of you who have joined the Tomi Talks Marriage Masterclass group on Facebook, I appreciate you as well, because that's a close community where we get to share things that we don't share anywhere else. So if you haven't joined yet, it's the Tomi Talks Marriage Masterclass group on Facebook. If you just asked to join, I will admit you into the group. Now today I'm going to be taking another one of your questions, and it goes like this. I have a very happy and blessed relationship, and we're planning ahead towards marriage. We do many things together and spend a lot of time with each other. He's a great man who brings out the best of me, and he leads me spiritually, and I respect him very much. Realistically, we still need to settle many things before we can marry, both career-wise and in terms of our families. How can I maximize this waiting time rather than longing for it to end? We're both trying to keep ourselves busy and developing ourselves continuously, but sometimes it's still very difficult to handle emotions and desires. Especially for me as a lady, I strongly feel a need for feeling secure, and my love language is touch, which makes everything even harder. Aside from praying and keeping ourselves busy, what could be some other practical ways to help us keep focused and happy rather than being consumed by the waiting? Now, this is an excellent question. I can understand exactly where you are, because if you've heard my story, my husband and I courted for 7 years before we got married, not out of choice, but because of the circumstances at the time. And it can be very challenging when you're in love with someone, you know, you love spending time together, but you've made up your minds to stay pure, you know, until you get married, you know, and you've decided that you're not going to be sexually engaged with each other until you get married. So what do you do in the interim? You know, how do you keep yourselves focused? Well, it sounds to me like you're already on the right path. So you're already doing a lot of the things that you should be doing, which is focusing on your development, focusing on building your relationship, you know, together, you know, thinking about the future, things like that, which is, you know, absolutely great. First of all, I have to say that you have to be realistic about, you know, the relationship, because the truth is that there will always be those tensions, those emotional tensions. As long as you love someone and you really want to get married to them, that, you know, that whole attraction will be there, and that's something that you should not expect to disappear. It will always be there. It's something you have to continue to manage. But then the other side to it is that there are practical steps to take. Now, in my book, Get Real, The Myths and Realities of Finding and Keeping Love, I go into detail in one of the chapters. It's a chapter called Touch Me, Touch Me Not. So in that chapter, I go into detail about how to actually stay pure in a relationship. So I can't go into all that detail now, but I will highlight one of the key things that I mentioned in that chapter, which is that you need to ensure that as much as possible, you minimize the time that you spend alone together where you cannot be interrupted. Now, I know this can sound like, you know, something very challenging, but you see, if you're really serious about staying pure in your relationship, then you should do everything that you can not to put yourselves in, you know, compromising situations where, you know, it gets difficult for you to manage the emotions. I mean, what am I saying? Simply, you know, don't spend time alone in, you know, his flat or your flat. You know, the lights are dim, the music is playing softly, you know, and then you're thinking that, you know, somehow or the other you're going to be able to maintain your self-control. What I'm saying is, don't set yourselves up for failure. Rather, you know, choose group activities, choose activities, you know, outside, you know, in places where you know, you're less likely to be tempted. I'm not saying that will always be possible, but, you know, as a matter of choice, let that be the ideal situation for you. As much as possible, try to focus on things that, you know, external, and build your relationship together, you know. And then besides that, also constantly reminding yourselves of the commitment that you've made, and why you've made that commitment as well. That's another practical thing that you can do. But I believe that you're on the right path, and as you're both in agreement that this is what you want to do, I believe that you will make it to the end and you will have a fantastic marriage. Well, I hope this has helped you. If this has helped you, then please leave me a message on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or YouTube, or wherever it is you're watching. And if you've got a question you would like me to answer, then head on over to tomitalks.com/ask, and I'll answer your question next time. See you next time. Bye-bye.